Walter Marks wrote the song in the 60s. Sammy Davis Jr. sang it. I've Gotta Be Me. I know you know the one I'm talking about, Zach. I've
No,
Gotta
I
Be
don't.
Me. Yes, you do. Everybody
I don't
knows
think
that.
I do.
Sammy Davis Jr. You at least know.
Sing me a bar, just real quick.
I'm not going to sing for you on this show. What do you think? You just clap your hands and I sing? Come on. Doesn't
It's
work
what everybody
that way.
wants. Everybody wants
Huh?
to hear those pipes, my guy.
I'm not singing I've Gotta Be Me, but, it was the B-side was Being Natural, Being Me. And so very popular song. It's been used in all kind of advertisements. And
Who's
stuff.
being me? Who's going to be me?
You're going to
Law?
be you. You're going to be you. I'm going to be me. And Hugh Freeze is going to be Hugh Freeze. This is Village Vice. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. Today's show brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Get choked up thinking about it. They will double your initial deposit when you use promo code next round at mybookie.ag. Get your
life-changing stuff.
Yeah.
Life-changing stuff. It's hard not to get emotional about it. No question. Yeah, there was this little quote, and a few different outlets grabbed it and put it out there. But Hugh Freeze saying, "I've made up my mind. I've got to be who I am." It sounds like he's been coaching some folks maybe differently because of fear that they might leave, and you can't do that. You can't do that anymore, even though you probably feel like you need to take care of some of these guys so they don't leave you via the portal. But I think Hugh Freeze is absolutely right. I don't think I should have taken him this long to realize, you're trying to build a culture. That's the big thing that you've been trying to fix, this massive overhaul culturally in your locker room. If folks don't want to be coached hard, they shouldn't be playing for an SEC program.
Did you take it as coaching guys hard, or did you take it as play calling and overall approach to the offense? Because I think you could take it both ways, but I almost took it more to the latter, to the play calling.
I feel like we've seen play calls that look like a Hugh Freeze offense fairly consistently this year.
Okay. I ask that specifically because against Missouri, when you've got the 2-score lead and you go backwards on a couple of running plays, I didn't watch those plays and think Auburn was being overly conservative. I thought they were giving it to their best offensive player, so I didn't see a problem with the play call. But after the fact, you start hearing people second guess, and you do the Monday morning quarterback thing, and you go, well, we should have gone for the kill there. You should have been aggressive and gone for the throw. And he actually said, I think it was on Tiger Talk with us this week, that, maybe earlier in the season, you're more aggressive and it doesn't pay off. You turn the ball over in a situation like that where you're being overly aggressive and it makes you second guess. And you cannot do that. You can't second guess. You can't first guess. You can't be second guessing yourself before you make the call.
And I want to be clear, I don't have a problem with the play calling at the end of Missouri.
No.
Because I had a problem with the play calling at the end of Oklahoma, and you can't say the same thing about both.
Right.
You can't. And I think with the context up to that point, Auburn's defense had been stellar. And if you had told me, can Auburn's defense get a stop? Are you okay with basing the game on that? I would have said yes. I would have been wrong, but I would have said yes. So I don't think he really just dropped the ball in the final closing minutes against Missouri. Now, what's going to be interesting is because I don't think Auburn's in a situation where they're going to blow out a Kentucky team in Lexington. I think they're certainly capable of beating a Kentucky team in Lexington. But what's going to happen if Auburn's in that situation again? Because, Brad, I do think that'll happen. It may not be against Kentucky, but against Vanderbilt, against Texas A&M, against ULM. Hopefully that game's not close, but we'll see. Auburn's going to be in a situation where I think where they'll have the lead in the fourth quarter, and we'll get to see. We'll get to see. I mean, we've seen them have that situation before, and they've handled it in different ways. You got to think that's been a discussion that they've had internally. We may even see it on Saturday. How does Auburn handle a lead in the fourth quarter when they have the football?
Yeah, and that goes back to identity, and that's for all the players. I really respect what Brady Cook said after the game Saturday. Okay. He said, I got 2.5 games left in this stadium. I'm not going to miss one at the hospital. And he came back and just, they had 2 incomplete passes on first and second down, and then they had the long play. And if Auburn makes a tackle, they don't have and who knows how that game turns out. Auburn probably wins the game without that play.
Right.
So that's how razor thin the margins are. But still, he made the throw. He made the play. He threw it in there perfectly. He led the team to a dramatic come-from-behind win in the fourth quarter. He expected to be in that situation. So I think we got to find out, and whether it's against Kentucky or Vandy or ULM or A&M or Alabama, all of them winnable games down the stretch, as we've said, who's the guy that works all week long as if he's going to be the guy to get the ball in the fourth quarter to make a play? That's what you have to have. You can't hope it's you or wonder what you're going to do if it's you by the time you get to Saturday, because it's too late at that point. So you got to have guys on this team who expect to be. Kentucky is a good defense. I don't know if either team gets to 20 in this game. I mean, it's just how well both defenses have played this year. So you got to expect on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, prepare as if you've got a low-scoring, tight game and somebody to make a play late.
What do you think the number is? I asked Locked On Kentucky host Lance Dahl this question earlier the week. Like, what is that number? I think he said 24. I said 21. You just said 20. Did you literally mean 20? Like, whoever, like, if I tell you Auburn scores 20 points on Saturday, do they win the football game?
I think first to 20 gets the win. Yes.
So if I tell you Kentucky scores 20 points, Auburn loses. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I'm not going to put my number was 21. 20 and 21 are pretty close, Brad. So yeah, I think we're kind of in the same. I think we're in the same ballpark. And 20 might be more realistic because of red zone situations, because one, Auburn hasn't been great in red zone situations. And I think with how Kentucky's offense is kind of playing left-handed, I think Auburn's defense should be able to be in a good spot when Kentucky has the ball in the red zone. So
Kentucky has 11 touchdowns and 6 field goals in the red zone.
Okay.
It's like not even 2-to-1 on that ratio. Auburn just over 2-to-1. Auburn has 11 touchdowns and 5 field goals in their red zone trips. So you're having to settle for 3 more often, and place kicking becomes very important.
Yeah. Auburn's Saturday. A little better than I realized, actually.
Yeah.
So
great. That's just the sheer numbers, though. The percentage, I think, is this is really small. Right, 80%. They've scored in 80% of their red zone trips.
That's not great.
Nope,
that's not great.
Kentucky's 85%.
Yeah, which isn't outstanding. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what exactly that looks like, because that may decide it. I mean, 3 points in some games doesn't feel like a lot. I have a feeling 3 points is going to feel like a lot.
Yeah,
in this game, both defenses are pretty good. Both offenses, it really just depends on who shows up. So we'll see. And hey, maybe Florida put something on tape of how to beat Kentucky. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm sure the coaches are going to mine that film and find everything they can find for what in the world Florida did to run us so effectively against those big dudes up front. Their defensive line averages, their starting D-line averages 6'4.5" and 305 pounds. The two guys in the middle are a combined weight of 670. That's Akeem and the big boss man. That's the Twin Towers on the inside. They're gigantic.
Sure. Okay. I want to touch on, like, what is the factor or playing on the road? What kind of factor does that play on Saturday? Let's jump into that in just a moment right here on Village Vice. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Roback. Brad, it's never been so easy to dress well, look good, and be so comfortable at an affordable price.
Yeah. We're going to save you 20% at roback.com with our promo code.
Yep. Promo code VICE20 at roback.com. They've got the best hoodies in the market. They've got the best quarter zips in the market. They've got the best polos in the market. They also have shorts and pants. I'm sure they're great. I haven't ordered any of those yet, just full transparency, but I have ordered the quarter zips and the polos, and they're outstanding, as well as their hoodies. So go check them out, roback.com. Use promo code VICE20. And Brad, you usually say it at the end of this. You were probably waiting for me to get done to say it. I'm going to beat you to it. Christmas is getting here close.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. No. Don't overthink it. They're going to like Roback. Roback.com. Use promo code VICE20. I've heard a narrative of Lexington on the road at night is tough.
Okay.
I pointed it out on another show. People are like, oh, well, you're going to learn. You're going to learn about Lexington at night. I'm like, okay, I might because I'm ignorant to it. Like, we're talking about football, right? What are you expecting? I mean, I just Kentucky. I mean, I'm picking Kentucky to win this game, but like, I don't think it's going to be because their home field advantage is tremendous. Like, I don't think that's going to be what happens.
No, I don't either. I mean,
why are you laughing? Why are you laughing right
I
now?
can't believe you're picking Kentucky to win this game. I know we got to
Really?
get to tomorrow's show. Yeah,
Really? You can't believe it?
No, that's all right. Let me back up.
Okay.
No, I can totally believe it.
Okay.
We disagree, but I can totally believe it. It's not the first time we've disagreed. So
I've never wanted to be more wrong.
I know. I understand.
I hope you're right.
I don't know. Like 2015 was a Thursday night in Lexington on the road. Thursday night in Lexington didn't matter. Auburn won. It wasn't Gus's best team. Might have been was that his worst team? Probably his worst team. And they still won.
Maybe. Yeah.
2010. That was night game. Lexington. They won that. I mean, teams have been winning in Lexington at night since 1966. So it's great. And that's not to disparage the home environment. I'm sure it's outstanding. But is it more electric than Athens? Is it more electric than, some other places Auburn played last year or the year before? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine. Their crowd will be into it. They have an opportunity for a win. They think this is a winnable game for them, and it is.
Yeah, it's a winnable game for both teams. No question about it. And both teams have underachieved so much this year.
Yeah.
To where I don't know if there's pressure as far as like job security. I've seen some Kentucky stuff, Kentucky folks calling for Stoops, which is wild and just so blatantly disrespectful for the job that he's done for that program. But so like maybe there is some pressure there, but this is a big game. Like whoever wins this game, I do think it offers an opportunity to right the ship as we kind of go into the final chunk of the season here.
It's the same lane, but maybe not exactly the same vehicle as last week. I mean, Mark Stoops in his presser last week talking about Florida, talked about how important the game was, and they really needed it, and so did we, he said. And then they got run over. They got flat out run over. These are Auburn and Kentucky have been really similar so far. They played Georgia close. They got the two biggest differences in the schedule. They were able to upset a top 25 team on the road, a top 10 team on the road.
Yeah.
Whereas Auburn's only opportunity to do that was Georgia, and they weren't able to do it.
Sure.
And the non-conference. I mean, if Auburn plays an Ohio or a Southern Miss instead of Cal, they're probably both 3-4 at this point. So I mean, I see two big differences. I want to give you
that's interesting. Sure.
I want to give you some stats. This is a post on X from Ben Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
Some may have already seen this by the time they watch the show, but yeah, there it is on the screen. Only 27 teams average 6.5 yards a play. 29 teams allow 5 or less. You got only 7 doing both. One of these things is not like the other. Auburn is legitimately statistically good on both sides of the ball.
It's so crazy. I mean, this is pretty eye-opening.
7 teams. Auburn has 5 losses. The other 6 teams combined have 4 losses.
Yeah, they're all 36-4. Then Auburn's sitting there 2-5. And for the folks who's like, we're close and you get picked at, show them this. Show them this. Because it feels like some loser crap when it's like, oh, we're so close and we're sitting there at 2-5, but like it's true. It's true. Doesn't really matter for this year, but to act like we're like so far away,
no,
I do think is a little lazy.
If you go looking for a house in this market right now, and you come to one, it's a real estate analogy.
Buckle up.
Here we go.
Metaphor time.
If you go looking for a house and you come to house A, okay, and house A, you walk through it and you go, oh, there's a funky smell in here, and that floor's falling in. I'm gonna have to replace the floor, and I got to replace the pipes. Like we got to do all new plumbing, interior plumbing, and it's a mess. All right, that's house A. That's not Auburn. Auburn is the house that like the foundation is strong. The pipes are good. You know what it needs? It needs some crown molding. It needs a few accents here and there. It's not it's not like the most prestigious looking house in the neighborhood, because there are other houses that have those fine details handled. It just needs a few little, it might need a shingle or two repaired on the roof.
Okay.
But might need the crown molding or whatever, but everything else is strong. It's got good bones. It's right there. I'm telling you, all this team needs is one game where they find a way to win it instead of finding a way to lose.
Oh, so you're saying one game is in like the short term?
Yes.
You're not even zooming out. I'm thinking more of like, man, let's get one more class in here. We're ready to rock and roll. But you're saying this year.
Well, because those stats on Ben's post are for this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, we'll see how many teams stay in that category, like Indiana without their quarterback. That's going to hurt. And we'll see how long Army can do what it's doing. But
maybe Indiana's schedule, though, like I don't know.
But these other teams, Texas, Penn State, Ole Miss, maybe Ohio State, they're going to be there at the end. We're going to be talking about them in late November, in all likelihood. Maybe not Ole Miss, but certainly the others. This year's Auburn team is close. I firmly believe you win the game Saturday, and it could be the start of a run based on what I've seen the rest of the season.
All right, so how do they do that? That's coming up. Yeah. I want to tell you about thebarnauburn.com. That is our message board. You can sign up for just $1. $1 for the first month. You're going to love what you see. Kyle, Charlie 5, dropping recruiting nuggets in there like it's crazy. You're seeing Team Scoop as well as seeing more and more basketball. Basketball be here before you know it. So be sure to check that out. All for just $1. Thebarnauburn.com. Also, great way to support this show. We really, really appreciate it. Thebarnauburn.com. As far as what you want to see Saturday, Brad.
Yeah.
Brad Law.
Continue. Yeah. All right.
What do you want to see?
Continue holding on to the ball effectively. Okay. We haven't talked about turnovers much the last few weeks.
Sure.
Auburn's done a better job holding on to the ball. Kentucky has a negative turnover margin this year. I don't see a lot of 10-play, 75-yard drives. Kentucky has a top 5 defense against the run and a top 3 defense against the pass. These are conference-only stats. These don't count Ohio and Southern Miss. Conference only, they're top 5 in both. So I don't see a lot of grinded-out type drives. And, Auburn's been better when they've had the big plays. And Kentucky doesn't give up a lot of big plays. Mm-hmm. So you're going to need to turn Kentucky over. You might need a short field or two. And you have to make field goals, whether that's Towns or whether that's maybe Alex McPherson's season debut.
It sounds like it's going to be McPherson if it's within 35 yards is what Freeze said on Monday. So does an extra week of him kind of, getting back into game shape, does that make it go to 40 or 45? We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's going to be a big deal.
You know what else I liked out of the defense against Missouri was the pressure. They brought pressure right up the middle a couple of times, and they were able to get home. Now,
the defense is good. The defense was fine. The defense was really good.
And that's the way you can force some turnovers is get to Brock Vandegrift with pressure, whether it's linebackers or safeties or just winning up front. They've got some, they've got some experience and some big guys up front, but everybody does.
Right.
A lot of their routes are designed to beat man coverage. So if you're bringing heat, you better get there.
Mm-hmm.
You better get there. They have a big guy in key who's 6'3" and 210 from Lexington. So it's special for him to be playing at home.
Yeah, good for him.
But if you heat him up a little bit, I think you can have some success.
Yeah, I'm curious if Auburn will need to bring a lot of pressure against this Kentucky offensive line. It's been a little inconsistent. They've had moments and drives where it's like, all right, they've got it together. Then there's other times where it's like, it's like they don't know who to block or they're not blocking effectively. And, they've got bad feet and you can tell they're just kind of sloppy and lazy at times during some reps. And you just never know when those are going to happen. So I'd love to see Auburn be able to get pressure without having to send a whole lot. Boy, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
And I think in this matchup, like, I think Jalen McLeod is licking his chops this week saying like, let's go. Here we go. This is what I came back for, to make a statement, to raise my draft stock. He's got a good opportunity to do that on Saturday. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
The tackles he's going against. Gerald Mincey is a 2-time transfer, started out at Tennessee, then Florida. 6'4", 335, okay, as a tackle. Marquise Cox is the other, 6'5", 318, a transfer from Northern Illinois.
Okay.
So Keldrick, Jalen, dinner bell. Let's go.
Let's eat. Let's eat. Okay, Brad Law. That about does it for today's show.
It does. On the next episode, we're going to do our 6-pack and give you the final thoughts before the big matchup in Lexington. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everybody, for watching, for commenting, for subscribing. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Ooh. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.